Manager's comments.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I have quite a few comments this evening, so I hope you'll bear with me for those. First of all, I want to just acknowledge that Governor Northam has recognized the week of May the 12th through the 18th, of which we're now a part of, as Virginia Police Week. And on the 15th, which is tomorrow, Peace Officers Memorial Day in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it is a time when all of us should pause and take stock of our law enforcement officers who serve us 24/7, 365 days a year. And so I hope sometime this week, if you see not just a Clifton Forge law enforcement officer, but any police officer in the area, that you would take the time to thank them for their service. Secondly, I want to, can't imagine that somebody hasn't seen it, but I want to make sure that everybody is aware of the beautiful stairs that have been painted by the middle school art students that sit on either side of Keswick. I have never seen so many positive comments posted and so many people saying how much the painting of those steps made them smile. And we need more people smiling, not just about steps, but about a lot of things. But that was a project out of the Corridor Curb Appeal group. It's a pilot, and we chose to do it in what I call off the corridor, because we do have in the downtown, as a historic commercial district, we do have some restrictions as to what we can do. But given the enthusiasm and the success of that project, I'm hoping that we can do more art throughout the town in the future, looking at the prospect of maybe doing something on those beautiful walls that the students from St. Joseph College prepared for us, maybe hiring an artist to actually do a sketch for us and then let various groups be the painters, although I did have to learn how to stay within the lines when I was painting the stars on the steps. But we really do appreciate the kind of work and effort that went into that, and I think it will have a very lasting positive effect on our community. You just heard a couple of items for June the 1st. That's going to be a very, very busy filled day here in our town. Not only is it the day for Heritage Day from 9 to 5, but our new police chief, Chad Wickline, has, in concert with a resident of our town, created another event, and I challenge anybody to say this 3 times and not get it wrong, but we will have an event on June the 1st from 10 o'clock to whenever at Booker T. Washington Park, and the event is called Badges, Bags, and Bridges. Can anybody do that 3 times? I can't hardly say it first time. It will be a cornhole tournament. There is an entry fee for various teams, and all of the proceeds from that tournament will go to the revitalization fund for Booker T. Washington. I think that's a great opportunity to bring our law enforcement officials and people in the community together. We do expect teams to come from not just our community, but from all over, and I know in talking to the police chief, evidently there are lots of people who put the word cornhole into a search engine, and he's gotten messages from all over the country of people who are interested in cornhole as a sport. I doubt they'll all come here on June the 1st, but it's great to see that people are looking at what we are doing. In concert with that fundraiser, I want to also mention that some of you were here when the employees of Kroger made a donation of a little over $400 to the Booker T. Washington Revitalization Fund, and at that time, Councilman Umstead indicated that he would match the contribution by those employees. He waited to see if additional contributions would come in, but several weeks ago he and his wife provided the town a check for $500 to go toward that fund. And I see Evelyn Cooper back there writing all these numbers down so she can figure out how best we can spend that money. Mr. Umstead and his wife also donated sufficient funds to buy a small swing set for the Roxbury Park, which is in the neighborhood that we've been doing revitalization in, and we certainly appreciate the generosity of both Mr. Umstead and his wife.
Not me, it's my wife.
She did write the check.
She writes the checks.
Wanted to also mention something that perhaps has not gotten the kind of publicity that it needs to, but the region, Allegheny Highlands, has been successful through the Economic Development Corporation in getting a $600,000 grant from EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And those funds can be used to do what's called Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental assessments of property for redevelopment. And there's actually some money also available for planning the use or reuse of those kinds of properties, whether they be buildings or raw land. And there's actually some remediation money also. So I want to publicly state that that fund is available so that if there are individuals or businesses in the region who have maybe thought they'd like to develop their property, but they were a little bit fearful of doing that for fear of what they might find underground because of prior use of the property, that brownfield money is available, and anyone who's interested should make contact with Marla Ackridge, who is the Economic Development Corporation director. We do have a fairly comprehensive list right now of what we know of properties that might be eligible for redevelopment, but we don't want to actually perform those studies until we know that somebody's interested in the redevelopment of the property. Actually, as a kind of a trial, there is a Phase 1 environmental being undertaken as we speak for the old Jefferson High School East Elementary School for its possible redevelopment. I think everybody knows that school, as well as the old Clifton Forge High School Middle School, are two properties owned by the town that have been on our website for a number of years saying that they are available for redevelopment, and both are on the historic register, so they have the opportunity to get some historic tax credits used in conjunction with them as well. Mentioned, I think, a couple of weeks ago at our last meeting that Lowell Street was going to be paved. I think all of the paving trucks and items have been on 220, because if you try to travel 220, you know that you're stopped frequently as they're doing milling and paving. But Lowell Street will start being paved tomorrow. So if you use that cut through between Jefferson and Commercial, I would take an alternate route for a couple of days. And lastly, I just want to mention that in the last several weeks, I've had the opportunity, along with others in the area, to visit in both Pulaski and Whiteville, two small communities that are having some significant impact in their revitalization. One program was specifically directed toward Main Street opportunities for marketing areas and how to go about doing that. The other was an opportunity to see some of the revitalization activities that are occurring in Pulaski as very small entrepreneurs are taking ideas and using old buildings. Would also remind you that Thursday at 6 o'clock, the award ceremony for the Gauntlet program will take place in Vinton. And my understanding is that 7 out of the 10 finalists are in fact from the Allegheny Highlands. And our contestants, I guess you call them, competed against people from the city of Roanoke, Roanoke County, Salem, and Botetourt. So I think the Gauntlet program and its emphasis on small entrepreneurs is really paying results. Some of you may know that Lolly's Quilts went through that program last year and was a winner. And I understand she's being very successful in her new business, and we certainly wish well to these new businesses that hopefully will bring back lots of awards and get started here in our community and elsewhere in the Highlands. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Under upcoming events, there's a few. You can read them in your agenda, unless council has any that sticks out they want to mention. All right, under public comments, Mark Bowser, bridge closed from Commercial. Yes, sir.